Ricardo Pepi got a brace, scored 2 very good goals in PSV's 6-0 win versus Swola. And now he is the top scorer for PSV this season. So I'm going to get your thoughts on that, Chuck, as our resident number 9. But before we do, Malik Tillman also scored in this game, his 5th of the season. Haji Wright scored Coventry's winning goal versus Luton. They were down 2-0. They stormed back to make it 3-2. He scored at the very end, had to trickle over the line, but put himself in a good spot to make it happen. I think also a vital play in that game was that he made a really good move down the line, which got a defender for Luton a second yellow, got him thrown out of the game, and then that allowed Coventry to have that with that man advantage to apply even more pressure. So even though that doesn't hit the scoreboard or the stats in the same way, I thought he had excellent movement there off the ball to create an opportunity where he got a second yellow for a player, which ultimately I think allowed him to score that winning goal in the first place. But nice to see Haji scoring back-to-back goals now in back-to-back games. So his confidence getting going is a nice thing as well. So you got resident number 9, Charlie Davies. Let's start with Ricardo Pepi. Do you think he's going to get over Luuk De Jong? I don't think that he is, but he's making a strong case that he deserves even more minutes than he's been getting.
Yeah, I don't think he will play over Luuk De Jong because Peter Bosz has already talked about he's behind Luuk De Jong. Luuk De Jong's a phenomenon. He's the captain and yada yada yada, going on and on. But all Ricardo Pepi can do is control what Ricardo Pepi can control, and that is producing when you get those minutes. And Luuk De Jong's not getting any younger, so entering his mid-30s, you're going to start to see a decline naturally. And someone who's hungry, who's 21 years old, I might add, is only going to pique the interest in the mind of Peter Bosz as the coach to say, you know what, this Ricardo Pepi, last 2 starts, he's got 4 goals. He's got a brace in each game. I might have something here. And so I think naturally when he first came into the scene and to the team, he had those good performances, but then the next week he'd find himself on the bench. And you start questioning yourself, you start questioning the coach. And it's easy to kind of maybe make a comment here or there that maybe it's better left in your mind or in the locker room. But I think he's doing the right thing. He's got Ernie Stewart there as a sporting director as well. As just put your head down and keep working. And so I think from that standpoint, he's making a strong case for himself that if Luuk De Jong doesn't keep producing, and it's tough to keep that up as a striker. We all know you go in and out of form, that he's going to see more minutes. And I think it's just it's a guarantee he'll see more minutes. But in terms of starting and absolutely displacing Luuk De Jong, it's going to be tough for this year. But next season, I could see them moving on from Luuk De Jong.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is Ricardo Pepi was named man of the match in this game, just to throw that out there. Is there, and I'm looking at their team right now, Peter Bosz, the manager, is there a universe where you could start both him and Luuk De Jong at the same time, Ricardo Pepi and Luuk De Jong at the same time? But they just signed Ivan Perisic, right, who's an excellent player, of course. You got Noah Lang, who's got a goal and assist on the other side of Ricardo Pepi.
Those are guys, those are wide players for the most part.
Sure. But but one of them might have to be, I bring them up because if you consider bringing up a Pepi and Luuk De Jong playing at the same time, somebody has to be sacrificed. So where are you going to make that happen? I assume it's Lang or Perisic or Bakayoko. He came on as a sub, even though he usually starts.
You're not benching him.
No, you're not benching him at all. But then you have Sabari, who I thought was excellent in this game. Goose Till, you got Malik Tillman. You got all these guys, and you're like, okay. I mean, it's a great problem to have if you're Peter Bosz. We got 8 to 10 guys that play our front, let's say 6 positions, maybe even more than that, 10 to 12. And they're all playing pretty well right now. Who do I start and what's the best formation? We've never seen him play with 2 strikers, but if you're trying to fit in a couple people, I wonder if he'd even consider it. Probably not at this point, but a conversation worth having, I suppose. Let's talk then a little bit about Haji Wright. How impressed were you with him? Because I thought he was really busy, found himself in some good spots. And, when you're down 2-0, it's not an easy spot to get out of. And they found their way to make it happen with Coventry.
No, I mean, for Haji Wright, I think he's a player who lost his form a little bit and his place maybe in the pecking order with the U.S. men's national team because his last few appearances weren't as commanding as I would have thought and hoped given his form with Coventry City, and it kind of dropped a little. There's a dip, normal dip, but it seems like now he's back. He's getting the minutes that he rightfully deserves and making an impact. He gets the game winner. So you know when Haji Wright is feeling it, when he's moving, when he's active. If there's a
Yeah.
lot of just, standing around or ball watching or being late, being really reactive instead of proactive, that's when
Yeah.
maybe he's not
Right.
all there. But no, this is great. You want to have these performances heading into a window that actually matters. No, they all matter, but one that is actually a competition in the Nations League to get you into the Nations League semifinals and finals in March.
All right, Chuck. So putting you on the spot here.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your starter just right now? Obviously, we have a little bit more time until not only is the roster announced, but before we have to name a starting
For the
11
9?
for that first
For the
game
9
in
spot?
Kingston. Number 9, who's starting for you? Has Ricardo Pepi done enough to be like the automatic starter? Josh Sargent, he was part of a 3-3 draw with Middlesbrough against Aiden Morris, who was on the show last week.
He's had a big dip in form, Josh Sargent. And we go back to this last window, right, of not maximizing this opportunity with 2 matches. He if anything, he hurt, right? He hurt himself in his standing under Mauricio Pochettino's first camp. So Ricardo Pepi would be my starting striker.
I mean, he did score in that first game
Yes.
against Panama, right? Came off the bench
No,
and then
but
they sent him home.
it's not even that. It's he's playing with PSV at the moment, and he's obviously scoring. He's getting more time. He's getting more respect. But his experience with the U.S. men's national team, we know in CONCACAF, you can count on Ricardo Pepi in CONCACAF. That I don't think that was ever an issue. And so I think he's only gotten better. He's got more experience. He's had success in Europe last season with PSV. So I think all of that has helped him for this moment of playing with that chip on his shoulder. And he's ready to, you could tell he's ready for this moment. And I'm more confident with him finishing than I am with right now. Haji, Josh Sargent, all these guys. It almost like he fits that
Just
system.
As a reminder.
Because Balogun's out.
Hurt.
So Balogun's hurt. So that's why he would not be started. So in the system, I think Ricardo Pepi's movement on and off the ball helps him and helps the team. I think it just suits the team right now, given that there's no number 10.
Chuck, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with everybody that's saying the same thing in the chats. If everybody listening at home,
no disagreements.
Nah, disagreement. No, there's not much to disagree with. I think that Pepi's the right choice. I think he's hungry. You can clearly see he's got a chip on his shoulder, a lot to prove for a lot of different reasons. And I'm excited to see him get the run out. So, and he's been playing well. Honestly, the 2 goals he had this weekend were unbelievable. Just really well taken. 2 different kinds of goals. One was a volley off of a cross first time, and the other one found himself in a good spot, made a good run to create the space, got it out of his feet and curled it to the back post. I mean, those are strikers' goals, and if you're feeling, or if you've seen a player in your player pool that's playing with that type of confidence and in a position where we need somebody playing with confidence, it's hard to argue otherwise than Ricardo Pepi.